Thunder and lightning.
When shall we three meet again? In thunder, lightning, or in rain?
When the hurly-burly's done, when the battle's lost and won.
That will be ere the set of sun.
Where the place?
On the heath.
There to meet with
Macbeth. I come, Grey Malkin.
Had a cause.
Anon.
Fair is foul and foul is fair. Hover through the fog
and build
the air.
What bloody man is that? He can report as seemeth by his plight, of the revolt, the new estate.
This is the sergeant, who like a good and hardy soldier fought against my captivity. Hail, brave friend. Say to the king the knowledge of the broil as thou didst leave it.
Doubtful it stood, as two spent swimmers that do cling together and choke their art. The merciless MacDonwald worthy to be a rebel, for to that the multiplying villainies of nature do swarm upon him. From the western isles of kerns and gallow glasses is supplied, and fortune on his damned quarrel smiling showed like a rebel's whore, but all's too weak. For brave Macbeth, well, he deserves that name, disdaining fortune with his brandished steel, which smoked with bloody execution like valor's minion, carved out his passage, till he faced the slave, which ne'er shook hands nor bade farewell to him, till he unseamed him from the nave to the chops, and fixed his head upon our battlements.
O valiant cousin, worthy gentleman!
As whence the sun gins his reflection, shipwrecking storms and direful thunders break, so from to that spring whence comfort seemed to come, discomfort swells. Mark, King of Scotland, mark, no sooner had justice with valor armed compelled these skipping kerns to trust their heels, but the Norwegian lord surveying vantage with furbished arms and new supplies of man began a fresh assault.
Dismayed this not our captains Macbeth and Banquo?
Yes, as sparrows eagles, or the hare the lion. If I say sooth, I must report they were as cannons overcharged with double cracks. So they doubly redoubled strokes upon the foe, except they meant to bathe in reeking wounds or memorize another Golgotha. I cannot tell. Ugh. But I am faint. My gashes cry for help.
So well thy words become thee as thy wounds. They smack of honor both. Go get him surgeons. Who comes here?
The worthy Thane of Ross.
What a haste looks through his eyes. So should he look that seems to speak things strange.
God save the king.
Whence camest thou, worthy Thane?
From Fife, great king, where the Norwegian banners flout the sky and fan the people cold. Norway himself, with terrible numbers, assisted by that most disloyal traitor, the Thane of Cawdor, began a dismal conflict, till that Bellona's bridegroom, lapped in proof, confronted him with self-comparisons, point against point, rebellious arm against arm, curbing his lavish spirit, and to conclude, the victory fell on us.
Great happiness!
And now Sweno, the Norway's king, craves composition, nor would we deign him burial of his men till he dispersed at St. Colm's Inch $10,000 to our general use.
No more. That Thane of Cawdor shall deceive our bosom interest. Go pronounce his present death, and with his former title, greet Macbeth.
I'll see it done.
What he hath lost, noble Macbeth hath won.
Thunder and lightning.
Where hast thou been, sister?
Killing swine.
So where thou?
A sailor's wife had chestnuts in her lap, and munched and munched and munched. Give me, quoth I. Aroint thee, witch, the rump-fed Runyon cries. Her husband's to Aleppo gone, master of the tiger. But in a sieve I'll thither sail, And like a rat without a tail, I'll do.
I'll give thee a wind.
Thou art kind.
And I another.
I myself have all the other, and the very ports they blow, all the quarters that they know, I the shipman's card. I will drain him dry as hay. Sleep shall neither night nor day hang upon his penthouse lid. He shall live a man forbid. Weary se'nights 9 times 9 shall he dwindle, peak and pine. Though his bark cannot be lost, yet it shall be tempest-tossed. Look what I have.
Show me, show me.
Here I have a pilot's thumb, wrecked as homeward he did come.
Drumming within.
A drum, Macbeth doth come.
The weird sisters hand in hand.
Toasters up the sea and land.
Thus do go about.
Thrice to thine.
Thrice to mine.
And thrice again.
Make
Make up 9. Peace.
the charms
Wound up.
So foul and fair day I had not seen.
How far is called to Forres? What are these? So withered and so wild in their attire that look not like the inhabitants of the earth and yet are on it. Live you, or are you aught that man may question? You seem to understand me. By each at once, her chappy finger laying upon her skinny lips.
Speak if you can. What are you?
All hail Macbeth. Hail to thee, Thane of Glamis.
All hail Macbeth! Hail to thee, Thane of Cawdor!
All hail Macbeth! Thou shalt be king hereafter.
Good sir, why do you start and seem to fear things that do sound so fair? In the name of truth, are ye fantastical, or that indeed which outwardly you show? My noble partner you greet, with present grace and great prediction of noble having and of royal hope that he seems rapt withal. To me you speak not. If you can look into the seeds of time and say which grain will grow and which will not, speak then to me, who neither beg nor fear your favors nor your hate.
Hail.
Hail!
Lesser than Macbeth, and greater.
Not so happy, yet much happier.
Thou shalt get king, so thou be none. So all hail Macbeth and Banquo.
Banquo and Macbeth, all hail.
Stay, you imperfect speakers. Tell me more. By Sinno's death, and I am Thane of Glamis, Bahav Cawdor. The Thane of Cawdor lives. A prosperous gentleman, and to be king stands not within the prospect of belief, no more than to be Cawdor. Say from whence you owe this strange intelligence, or why upon this blasted heath you stop our way with such prophetic greeting. Speak, I charge you.
The earth hath bubbles as the water has, and these are of them. Whither are they vanished?
Into the air, and what seemed corporal melted as breath into the wind, where they have stayed.
Were such things here as we do speak about? Or have we eaten on the insane root that takes the reason prisoner?
Your children shall be kings.
You shall be king.
And Thane of Cawdor too, won't that not so?
To the self-same tune and words. Who's there?
The king hath happily received, Macbeth, the news of thy success. And when he reads thy personal venture in the rebels' fight, his wonders and his praises do contend which should be thine or his. Silenced with that, in viewing o'er the rest of the self-same day, he finds thee in the stout Norwegian ranks, nothing afeard of what thyself didst make, strange images of death. As thick as hail came post with post, and every one did bear thy praises in his kingdom's great defense, and poured them down before him.
We are sent to give thee from our royal master thanks, only to herald thee into his sight, not to pay thee.
And for an earnest of a greater honor, he bade me from him call thee Thane of Cawdor, in which addition, hail, most worthy Thane, for it is thine.
the devil speak true?
The Thane of Cawdor lives. Why do you dress me in borrowed robes?
Who as a Thane lives yet, but under heavy judgment bears that life, which he deserves to lose, whether he was combined with those of Norway, or did line the rebel with hidden help and vantage, or that with both. He labored in his country's wreck, I know not. But treason's capital, confessed and proved, have overthrown him.
Lambs and Thane of Cawdor, the greatest is behind. Thanks for your pains. Do you not hope your children shall be kings, when those that gave the Thane of Cawdor to me promised no less to them?
That trusted home might yet enkindle ye unto the crown besides the Thane of Cawdor. But 'tis strange, and oftentimes to win us to our harm, the instruments of darkness tell us truths. Win us with honest trifles, then betray us in deepest consequence. Cousins, a word, I pray you.
Two truths are told, as happy prologues to the swelling act of the imperial theme. This supernatural soliciting cannot be ill, cannot be good. If ill, why has it given me earnest of success commencing in a truth? I am Thane of Cawdor. If ill, if good, why do I yield to that suggestion whose horrid image doth unfix mine hair, and make my seated heart not guide my ribs against the use of nature? Present fears are less than horrible imaginings. My thought, whose murder yet is but fantastical, shakes so my single state of man that function is smothered in surmise, and nothing is but what is not.
Look how our partner's rapt.
If chance will have me king, why chance may crown me without my stir.
New honors come upon him like our strange garments cleave not to their molds, but with the aid of use.
Come what come may, time and the hour run through the roughest day.
Worthy Macbeth, we stay upon your leisure.
Give me your favor. My dull brain was wrought with things forgotten. Kind gentlemen, your pains are registered, where every day I turn the leaf to read them. Let us toward the king. Think upon what has chanced, and at more time the interim having waited, let us speak our free hearts each to other.
Very gladly.
Till then enough. Come, friends.
Drums.
Is execution done on Cawdor? Are not those in commission yet returned?
My liege, they are not yet come back. But I have spoke with one that saw him die, who did report that very frankly he confessed his treason, implored your highness's pardon, and set forth a deep repentance. Nothing in his life became him like believing it. He died as one that had been studied in his death to throw away the dearest thing he owed as 'twere a careless trifle.
There's no art to find the mind's construction in the face. He was a gentleman on whom I built an absolute trust. O worthiest cousin, the sin of my ingratitude even now was heavy on me. Thou art so far before, that swiftest wing of recompense is slow to overtake thee. Would thou hadst less deserved, that the proportion both of thanks and payment might have been mine. Only I have left to say, more is thy due, than more than all I can pay.
The service and the loyalty I owe in doing it pays itself. Your highness's part is to receive our duties, and our duties are to your throne and state, children and servants, which do but what they should by doing everything safe toward your love and honor.
Welcome hither. I have begun to plant thee, and will labor to make thee full of growing. Noble Banquo, that hast no less deserved, nor must be known, no less to have done so. Let me enfold thee, and hold me to my heart.
There if I grow, the harvest is your own.
My plenteous joys, wanton in fullness, seek to hide themselves in drops of sorrow. Sons, kinsmen, thanes, and you whose places are the nearest, know we will establish our estate upon our eldest, Malcolm, whom we name hereafter the Prince of Cumberland, which honor must not accompanied invest him only, but signs of nobleness like stars shall shine on all deservers. From hence to Inverness, and bind us further to you.
The rest is labor, which is not used for you. I'll be myself the harbinger and make joyful the hearing of my wife with your approach. So humbly take my leave.
My worthy Cawdor.
The Prince of Cumberland. That is the step on which I must fall down, or else o'erleap. For in my way it lies. Stars, hide your fires. Let not light see my black and deep desires. The eye wink at the hand. Yet let that be, which the eye fears when it is done to see.
True, worthy Banquo. He is full so valiant, and in his commendations I am fed. It is a banquet to me. Let's after him, whose care is gone before us, bid us welcome. It is a peerless kinsman.
Trumpet flourish.
They met me in the day of success, and I have learned by the perfectest report they have more in them than mortal knowledge. When I burned in desire to question them further, they made themselves air, into which they vanished. Whilst I stood wrapped in the wonder of it, came missives from the king, who all hailed me Thane of Cawdor, by which title before these weird sisters saluted me, and referred me to the coming on of time with Hail, King that shalt be. This have I thought good to deliver thee, my dearest partner of greatness, that thou mightest not lose the dues of rejoicing by being ignorant of what greatness is promised thee. Lay it to thy heart, and farewell. Glums thou art, and Cawdor, and shalt be what thou art promised. Yet do I fear thy nature. It is too full of the milk of human kindness to catch the nearest way. Thou wouldst be great, art not without ambition, but without the illness should attend it. What thou wouldest highly, thou wouldst thou wholly, wouldst not play false, and yet wouldst wrongly win. Hie thee hither, that I may pour my spirit in thine ear, and chastise with the valor of my tongue all that impedes thee from the golden round, which fate and metaphysical aid doth seem to have thee crowned withal. What is your tidings?
The king comes here tonight.
Thou'rt mad to say it. Is not thy master with him? Who wert so would have informed for preparation.
To please you, it is true. Our Thane is coming. One of my fellows at the speed of him, who almost dead for breath, has scarcely more than would make up his message.
Give him tending. He brings great news. The raven himself is hoarse that croaks the fatal entrance of Duncan under my battlements. Come, you spirits that tend on mortal thoughts, unsex me here and fill me from the crown to the toe top full of direst cruelty. Make thick my blood, stop up the access and passage to remorse, that no compunctious visitings of nature shake my fell purpose, nor keep peace between the effect and it. Come to my woman's breast and take my milk for gall, and murdering ministers, you murdering ministers, wherever in your sightless substance you wait on nature's mischief. Come, thick night, and pall thee in the dunnest smoke of hell, that my keen knife see not the wound it makes, nor heaven peep through the blanket of the dark to cry, hold, hold. Great Glums, worthy Cawdor, greater than both, by the all hail hereafter. Thy letters have transported me beyond this ignorant present, and I feel now the future in the instant.
My dearest love, Duncan comes here tonight.
And when goes hence?
Tomorrow, as he purposes.
Oh, never shall sun that morrow see. Your face, my Thane, is as a book where men may read strange matters. To beguile the time, look like the time, bear welcome in your eye, your hand, your tongue. Look like the innocent flower, but be the serpent under't. He that's coming must be provided for, and you shall put this night's great business into my dispatch, which shall to all our nights and days to come give solely sovereign sway and masterdom.
We will speak further.
Only look up clear. To alter favor is ever to fear. Leave all the rest to me.
Bird
This
song.
castle hath a pleasant seat. The air nimbly and sweetly recommends itself unto our gentle senses.
This guest of summer, the temple-haunting martlet, does approve by his loved masonry that the heaven's breath smells wooingly here. No juddy, frieze, buttress, nor coign of vantage, but this bird hath made his pendant bed and procreant cradle. Where they most breed and haunt, I have observed the air is delicate.
See our honored hostess. The love that follows us sometime is our trouble, which still we thank as love. Herein I teach you how you shall bid God ild us for your pains and thank us for your trouble.
All our service, in every point twice done and then done double, we're poor and single business to contend against those honors deep and broad wherewith your majesty loads our house.
Where's the Thane of Cawdor? We coursed him at the heels and had a purpose to be his purveyor, but he rides well, and his great love, sharp as his spur, hath holp him to his home before us. Fair and noble hostess, we are your guest tonight.
Your servants ever.
Give me your hand. Conduct me to mine host. We love him highly, and shall continue our graces towards him. By your leave, hostess.
If it were done when 'tis done, then 'twere well it were done quickly. If the assassination could trammel up the consequence, and cash with this Circe's success, that but this blow might be the be-all and the end-all here. But here upon this bank in show of time, we jump the life to come. But in these cases, we still have judgment here. That we but teach bloody instructions, which being taught return to plague the inventor. This even-handed justice commands the ingredients of our poison chalice to our own lips. He's here in double trust. First, as I am his kinsman and his subject, strong both against the deed, and as his host, who should against the murderer shut the door and not bear the knife myself. Besides, this Duncan has borne his faculty so meek, has been so clear in his great office, that his virtues will bleed like angels, trumpet-tongued against the deep damnation of his taking off. And pity, like a naked newborn babe striding the blast or heaven's sherbet, horsed upon the sightless couriers of the air, shall blow the horrid deed in every eye, that tears shall drown the wind. I have no spur to prick the size of my intent, but only vaulting ambition, which sure leaps itself and falls to the other. How now? What news?
He has almost supped. Why have you left the chamber?
Hath he asked for me?
Know you not he has?
We will proceed no further in this business. He has honored me of late, and I have bought golden opinions from all sorts of people, which will be worn now in their newest gloss, not cast aside so soon.
Was the hope drunk wherein you dressed yourself? Has it slept since, and wakes it now to look so green and pale at what it did so freely? From this time such I account thy love. Art thou afeard to be the same in thine own act and valor as thou art in desire? Wouldst thou have that which thou esteemest the ordinate of life, and live a coward in thine own esteem? Letting I dare not wait upon I would, like the poor cat in the adage.
Pretty peace. I dare do all that may become a man. Who dares do more is none.
What beast wast then that made you break this enterprise to me? When you durst do it, then you were a man. And to be more than what you were, you would be so much more the man. Nor time nor place did then adhere, and yet you would make both. They have made themselves, and that their fitness now does unmake you. I have given suck and know how tender 'tis to love the babe that milks me. I would, while it was smiling in my face, have plucked my nipple from his boneless gums and dashed the brains out, had I so sworn as you have done to this.
If we should fail.
We fail. But screw your courage to the sticking place, and we'll not fail. When Duncan is asleep, whereto the rather shall his day's hard journey soundly invite him, his 2 chamberlains will I with wine and wassail so convince that memory, the warder of the brain, shall be a fume, and the receipt of reason a limbeck only. When in swinish sleep their drenched natures lie as in a death, what cannot you and I perform upon the unguarded Duncan? What not put upon his spongy officers? Who shall bear the guilt of our great quell?
Bring forth men, children only, for thy undaunted metal should compose nothing but males. Will it not be received? We have marked with blood those sleepy 2 of his own chamber, and used their very daggers that they have done it.
Who dares receive it other? As we shall make our griefs and clamor roar upon his death.
I am settled, and bend up each corporal agent to this terrible feat. Away, and mock the time with fairest show. Whose face must hide what Duffle's heart does know.
How goes the night, boy?
The moon is down. I have not heard the clock.
And she goes down at 12.
I take it 'tis later, sir.
Hold. Take my sword. There's husbandry in heaven. Their candles are all out. Take thee that too. A heaviness lies upon me like lead, and yet I would not sleep. Merciful powers restrain in me the cursed thoughts that nature gives way to in repose. Give me my sword. Who's there?
Friend.
What, sir, not yet at rest? The king's abed. He hath been an unusual pleasure and sent forth great largesse to your offices. This diamond he greets your wife withal by the name of most kind hostess, and then shut up in measureless content.
Being unprepared, our will became the servant to the effect, which else should free have wrought.
All's well. I dreamt last night of the 3 weird sisters. To you they have showed some truth.
I think not of them. Yet, we can entreat her an hour to serve. We will spend it in some words upon that business, if you will grant the time.
At your kindest leisure.
If you should cleave to my consent, when 'tis it shall make honor for you.
So I lose none in seeking to augment it, but still keep my bosom franchise and allegiance clear. I shall be counseled.
Go repost a while.
Thanks, sir. Like to you.
Is this a dagger which I see before me? The handle toward my hand? Come, let me clutch thee. I be nodding, yet I see thee still. I thought not fate of vision sensible to feeling as to sight. Or out thou but the dagger of the mind, a false creation proceeding from the heat oppressed brain. I see thee yet, in form as palpable as this which now I draw. Thou marshallest me the way that I was going. In such an instrument I was to use. Mine eyes are made the fools of the other senses, or else with all the rest I see thee still. And on thy blade and dudgeon gouts of blood, which was not so before. There's no such thing. It is this bloody business which informs thus to mine eyes. Now o'er the one half-world nature seems dead. And wicked dreams abuse sleep. Witchcraft celebrates Pal's Hecate's offering, and withered murder, alarmed by his sentinel, the wolf, whose house is watched, thus with a pace. With Tarquin's ravishing stride towards his design moves like a ghost. Thou sure and firm set earth, hear not my steps, where they walk. For fear thy very stones prate of my whereabout. and take the present horror from the time which now suits with it. Whilst I threat, he lives. First to the heat of these two cold breath gives.
Ringing bell.
I go and then it's done. The bell invites me. Hear it not, Duncan, for it is a nail that summons thee to heaven or to hell.
That which hath made them drunk hath made me bold. What hath quenched them hath given me fire.
Owl cry.
Hark!
Owl cry.
Peace! Oh, it was the owl that shrieked, the fatal bellman which gives the sternest good night. He is about it. The doors are open, and the surfeited grooms do mock their charge with snores. I have drunk their posits, that death and nature do contend about them, whether they live or die.
Who's there? What ho?
Alack! I am afraid they have awaked, and 'tis not done. The attempt and not the deed confounds us. Hark! I laid their daggers ready. He could not miss them. Had he not resembled my father as he slept, I'd had done't. My husband.
I have done the deed. Dost thou not hear a noise?
I heard the owl scream and the crickets cry. Did you not?
When?
Now.
As I descended.
I.
Hark! Who lies in the second chamber?
Donalbain.
Is this a sorry sight?
A foolish thought to say a sorry sight.
There's one did lap in sleep, and one cried murder, that they did wake each other. I stood and heard them, but they did say their prayers and addressed them again to sleep.
There are two lodged together.
One cried, God bless us, and amen the other, as they had seen me with these hangman hands, listening their fear. I could not say amen when they did say, God bless us.
Consider it not so deeply.
Well, wherefore could not I pronounce amen? I had most need of blessing, and amen stuck in my throat.
These deeds must not be thought after these ways, so it will make us mad.
Methought I heard a voice cry, sleep no more. Macbeth does murder sleep, innocent sleep. Sleep that knits up the raveled sleeve of care, the death of each day's life, sore labor's bath, balm of hurt minds, great nature's second course, chief nourisher in life's feast.
What do you mean?
Still it cries, sleep no more to all the house. Glance has murdered sleep, and therefore Cardor shall sleep no more. Macbeth shall sleep no more.
Who was it that thus cried? Why, worthy Thane, you do unbend your noble strength to think so sickly of things. Go get some water, and wash this filthy witness from your hand. Why did you bring these daggers from the place? They must lie there. Go, carry them and smear the sleepy grooms with blood.
I'll go no more. I'm afraid to think what I have done. Look on't again, I dare not.
Infirm of purpose. Give me the daggers. The sleeping and the dead are but as pictures. 'Tis the eye of childhood that fears a painted devil. If he do bleed, I'll give the faces of the grooms withal, for it must seem their guilt.
Knocking.
Whence is that knocking? How is't with me when every noise appalls me? What hands are here? They pluck out mine eyes. With all great Neptune's ocean, wash this blood clean from my hand. No, this my hand were rather the multitudinous seas incarnadine, making the green one red.
My hands are of your color, but I shame to wear a heart so white.
Knocking.
I hear a knocking at the south entry. Retire we to our chamber. A little water clears us of this deed. How easy is it then? Your constancy hath left you unattended.
Knocking.
Hark! More knocking. Get on your nightgown, lest the occasion call us and show us to be watchers. Be not lost so poorly in your thoughts.
To know my deeds were best not know myself.
Knocking.
Wake Duncan with thy knocking! I would thou couldest.
Knocking.
Here's a knocking indeed. If a man were porter of Hellgate, he should have old turning the key.
Knocking.
Knock, knock, knock! In the name of Beelzebub! Here's a farmer that hanged himself on the expectation of plenty. Come in time. Have napkins enow about you. Here you'll sweat for it.
Knocking.
Knock, knock! Who's there in the other devil's name? Faith, here's an equivocator that could swear in both the scales against either scale, who committed treason enough for God's sake, yet could not equivocate to heaven. Oh, come in, equivocator.
Knocking.
Knock, knock. Never it quiet. What are you? But this place is too cold for hell. I'll devil porter it no further. I had thought to have let in some of all professions that go the primrose way to the everlasting before bonfire.
Knocking.
Anon! Anon! I pray you, remember the porter.
Knocking.
Was it so late, friend, ere you went to bed that you do lie so late?
Faith, sir, we were carousing till the second cock, and drink, sir, is a great provoker of three things.
What three things does drink especially provoke?
Marry, sir, nose painting, sleep, and urine. Lechery, sir, it provokes and unprovokes. It provokes the desire, but it takes away the performance. Therefore, much drink may be said to be an equivocator with lechery. It makes him and it mars him. It sets him on and it takes him off. It persuades him and disheartens him. It makes him stand to and not stand to. In conclusion, equivocates him in a sleep, and giving him the lie, leaves him.
I believe drink gave thee the lie last night.
That it did, sir, in the very throat on me. But I requited him for this lie, and I think, being too strong for him, though he took up my legs some time, yet I made a shift to cast him.
Is thy master stirring? Our knocking has awakened him. Here he comes.
Good morrow, noble sir.
Good morrow, both.
Is the king stirring, worthy Thane?
Not yet.
He did command me to call timely on him. I have almost slipped the hour.
I'll bring you to him.
I know this is a joyful trouble to you, but yet 'tis one.
The labor we delight in physics pain. This is the door.
I'll make so bold to call, for 'tis my limited service.
Goes the king hence today?
He does. He did appoint so.
The night has been unruly. Where we lay, our chimneys were blown down, and as they say, lamentings heard in the air. Strange screams of death, and prophesying with accents terrible of dire combustion and confused events, new hatched to the woeful time. The obscure bird clamored the livelong night. Some say the earth was feverous and did shake.
'Twas a rough night.
My young remembrance cannot parallel a fellow to it.
Oh, horror, horror, horror! Tongue nor heart cannot conceive nor name thee.
What's the matter?
Confusion now hath made his masterpiece. Most sacrilegious murder hath broke ope the Lord's anointed temple and stole thence the life of the building.
What is to say the life?
Mean you his majesty?
Poach the chamber and destroy your sight with a new gorgon. Do not bid me speak. See, and then speak yourselves. Awake, awake, ring the alarm bell. Murder and treason. Banquo and Donalbain, Malcolm, awake. Shake off this downy sleep death's counterfeit and look on death itself. Up, up, and see the great doom's image. Malcolm, Banquo, as from your graves rise up and walk like sprites to countenance this horror. Ring the bell.
Alarm bell, alarm bell.
What's the business that such a hideous trumpet calls to parley the sleepers of the house? Speak, speak!
Oh, gentle lady, 'tis not for you to hear what I can speak. The repetition in a woman's ear would murder as it fell. Oh, Banquo, Banquo, a royal master is murdered.
Oh, alas, alas! What? In our house?
Too cruel anywhere! Dear Duff, I prithee, contradict thyself and say it is not so.
Had I but die an hour before this chance, I had lived a blessed time. For from this instant there is nothing serious in mortality. All is but toys. Renown and grace is dead. The wine of life is drawn, and the mere lease is left this vault to brag of.
What is amiss?
You are and do not know it. The spring, the head, the fountain of your blood is stopped. The very source of it is stopped.
Your royal father is murdered.
Oh, by whom?
Those of his chamber, as it seemed, had done 't. Their hands and faces were abadged with blood. So were their daggers, which, unwiped, we found upon their pillows. They stared and were distracted. No man's life was to be trusted with them.
Oh, yet I do repent me of my fury that I did kill them.
Wherefore did you so?
Who can be wise, amazed, temperate, and furious, loyal and neutral in a moment? No man. The expedition my violent love outrun the pauser, reason. Here lay Duncan, his silver skin laced with his golden blood, and his gashed stabs looked like a breach in nature for ruin's wasteful entrance. There the murderers steeped in their color of their trade, their daggers unmannerly breached with gore. Who could refrain that had a heart to love, and in that heart courage to make love's known?
Help, hands!
Look to the lady!
Nor our strong star upon the foot of motion.
Look to the lady. And when we have our naked frailties hid that suffer an exposure, let us meet and question this most bloody piece of work to know it further. Fears and scruples shake us. In the great hand of God, I stand, and thence, against the undivulged pretense, I fight off treasonous malice!
So do I.
So all. Let's briefly meet, put on manly readiness, and meet in the hall together.
Well
Well contended.
What will you do? Let's not consort with him, to show an unfelt sorrow in an office which the false man does easy. I'll to England.
To Ireland, aye. Our separated fortune shall keep us both the safer. Where we are, there's daggers and men's smiles. The near in blood, the nearer bloody.
This murderous shaft that shot hath not yet lighted, and our safest way is to avoid the aim. Therefore to horse, and let us not be dainty of leave-taking, but shift away. There's warrant in the theft which steals itself where there's no mercy left.
Wind blowing.
70 I remember well, within the volume of which time I have seen hours dreadful and things strange, but this sore night have trifled former knowings.
Ah, good soldier, thou seest the heavens as troubled with man's act threaten his bloody stage. By the clock 'tis day, and yet dark night strangles the traveling lamp. Is it night's predominance or the day's shame that darkness does the face of earth entomb when living light should kiss it?
'Tis unnatural, even like the deed that's done. On Tuesday last, a falcon towering in her pride of place was by a mousing owl hawked at and killed.
And Duncan's horses, a thing most strange and certain, beauteous and swift, the minions of their race, turned wild in nature, broke their stalls, flung out contending against obedience as they would make war with mankind.
'Tis said they eat each other.
Did so, to the amazement of mine eyes that looked upon it. Here comes the good Macduff. How goes the world, sir, now?
Why, see you not?
Is it known who did this more than bloody deed?
Those that Macbeth had slain.
Last the day, what good could they pretend?
They were suborned. Malcolm and Donalbain, the king's 2 sons, are stolen away and fled, which puts upon them suspicion of the deed.
Against nature still, thriftless ambition that wilt raven up thine own life's means. Then 'tis most like the sovereignty will fall upon Macbeth.
He is already named and gone to Scone to be invested.
Where is Duncan's body?
Carried to Conkill, the sacred storehouse of his predecessors and guardian of their bones.
Will he to Scone?
No, cousin, I'll to Fife.
Well, I will thither.
Well, may you see things well done there. Adieu, lest our old robes sit easier than our new.
Farewell.
God's benison be with you, and with those that would make good of bad and friends of foes.
Thou hast it now. King, Cawdor, Glens, all as the weird women promised. I fear thou played most foully for it. Yet it was said, it should not stand in thy posterity, but that myself should be the root and father of many kings. If there come truth from them, as upon thee, Macbeth, their speeches shine. Why, by the verities on thee made good, may they not be my oracles as well, and set me up in hope. But hush, no more.
Trumpet flourish.
He is our chief guest.
If he had been forgotten, it had been as a gap in our great feast, and all thing unbecoming.
Tonight we hold a solemn supper, sir, and I'll request your presence.
Let your highness command upon me, to the which my duties are with the most indissoluble tie forever knit.
Raju this afternoon?
Aye, my good lord.
We should have those desire your good advice. We still have been both grave and prosperous in this day's council. But we'll take tomorrow. It's far you ride.
As far, my lord, as will fill up the time twixt this and supper. Go not, my horse, the better I must become a borrower of the night for a dark hour or twain.
Fail not our feast.
My lord, I will not.
We hear our bloody cousins are bestowed in England and Ireland, not confessing their cruel parasite, filling their hearers with strange invention. But of that tomorrow, when therewithal we shall have cause of state craven us jointly. Hie you to horse, adieu, till we return at night. Goes Fleance with you?
Aye, my good lord. Our time does call upon us.
I wish your horses swift and sure of foot, and so I do commend you to their backs. Farewell. Let every man be master of his time till 7 at night, to make society the sweeter welcome. We will keep ourselves till supper time alone. While then, God be with you. Sarah, a word with you. Attend those men our pleasure.
They are, my lord, without the palace gate.
Bring them before us. To be thus is nothing, but to be safely thus. Our fears in Banquo stake deep, and in his royalty of nature reigns that which would be feared. 'Tis much he dares, and to that dauntless temper of his mind he hath the wisdom that doth guide his valor to act in safety. There's none but he whose being I do fear, and unto him my genius is rebuked. As it is said, Mark Antony's was by Caesar. He chid the sisters when first they put the name of king upon me, and bade them speak to him. Then prophet-like, they hailed him father to a line of kings. Upon my head they placed a fruitless crown. and put a barren scepter in my grip. Thence to be wrenched with an unlineal hand, no son of mine succeeding. If it be so, for Banquo's issue have I filed my mind. For them, the gracious Duncan have I murdered. Put rancors in the vessel of my peace only for them. And mine eternal jewel, given to the common enemy of men to make them kings, the seed of Banquo kings. Rather than so, come fate into the list and champion me to the utterance. Who's there? Now go to the door and stay there till we call. Was it not yesterday we spoke together?
It was, so please your highness.
Well then, now, have you considered of my speeches? Know that it was he in the times past which held you so under fortune, which you thought had been our innocent self. This I made good to you in our last conference, passed in probation with you, had you a board in hand, how cross the instruments who wrought with them, and all things else that might to half a soul and to a notion graced, say thus did Banquo.
You made it known to us?
I did so, and went further, which is now our point of second meeting. Do you find your patience so predominant in your nature that you can let this go? Are you so gospel to pray for this good man and for his issue, whose heavy hand has bowed you to the grave and beckoned yours forever?
We are men, my liege.
Aye, and the catalogue ye go for men, as hounds and greyhounds, mongrels, spaniels, curgs, shugs, water rugs, and demi-wolves are clipped all by the name of dogs, and so of men. Now, if you have a station in the file not in the worst rank of manhood, say it, and I'll put that business in your bosoms, whose execution takes your enemy off, grapples you to the heart and love of us, who wear our health but sickly in his life, which in his death were perfect.
I am one, my liege, whom the vile blows and the buffets of the world have so incensed that I am reckless what I do to spite the world.
And I another, so weary with disasters, tugged with fortune, that I would set my lie on any chance to mend it, or be rid on't.
Both of you know Banquo was your enemy.
True, my lord.
So is he mine. And in such bloody distance that every minute of his being thrust against my nearest of life. And though I could with barefaced power sweep him from my sight, and bid my will avouch it, yet I must not. For certain friends that are both his and mine, whose love I may not drop, but wail his fall, who I myself struck down. And thence it is that I to your assistance do make love, masking the business from the common eye, for sundry weighty reasons.
We shall, my lord, perform what you command us.
Though our lives...
Your spirit shine through you. Within this hour at most, I will advise you where to plant yourselves, acquaint you with the perfect spot, the time, the moment on't, for it must be done tonight. And something from the palace. Always thought that I require a clearness, and with them to leave no rubs nor botches in the work. Fleance, his son, who keeps him company, whose absence is no less material to me than is his father's, must embrace the fate of that dark hour. Resolve yourselves apart, I'll come to you anon.
We are resolved, my lord.
My lord.
I'll call upon you straight, abide within. It is concluded. Banquo, thy soul's flight, if it find heaven, must find it out tonight.
Is Banquo gone from court?
Aye, madam, but returns again tonight.
Say to the king I would attend his leisure for a few words.
Madam, I will.
Naught's had, all spent, where our desires got without content. 'Tis safer to be that which we destroy, than by destruction dwell in doubtful joy. How now, my lord? Why do you keep alone of sorriest fancies your companions making, using those thoughts which should indeed have died with them they think on? Think without all remedy should be without regard. What's done is done.
We have scorched the snake, not killed it. She'll close and be herself, whilst our poor Malice remains in danger of her former tooth. But let the frame of things disjoint, both the worlds suffer. Ere we will eat our meals in fear, and sleep in the affliction of these terrible dreams that shake us nightly. Better be with the dead, whom we, to gain our peace, have sent to peace, and on the torture of the mind to lie in restless ecstasy. Duncan is in his grave. After life's fitful fever, he sleeps well. Treason has done his worst. Nor steel, nor poison, malice domestic, nothing can touch him further.
Come on, gentle my lord, sleek o'er your rugged looks, be bright and jovial among your guests tonight.
So shall I, love, and so I pray be you. Let your remembrance apply to Banquo. Present him eminence both with eye and tongue. Unsafe the while that we must slave our honors in these flattering streams, and make our faces visitors to our hearts, disguising what they are.
You must leave this.
Oh, full of scorpions is my mind, dear wife. Thou knowest that Banquo and his Fleance lives.
But in them nature's copies not a turn.
There's comfort yet. They are assailable. And be thou jocund. Ere the bat has flown his cloister flight, ere to black Hecate summoned, the shore-born beetle with his drowsy hums hath rung night's yawning peal. There shall be done a deed of dreadful note.
What's to be done?
Be innocent of the knowledge, dearest Chuck, till thou applaud the deed. Come, silly night, scarf off the tender eye of pitiful day, and while with thy bloody and invisible hand cancel and tear to pieces that great bond which keeps me pale. Life thickens, and the crow makes wing to the rooky wood. Good things of day begin to droop and drowse, while night's black agents to their praise do rouse. Thou marvelest at my words. Behold thee still. Things bad begun make strong themselves by ill. So prithee, go with me.
But who did bid thee join with us?
Macbeth.
She needs not our mistrust, since she delivers her offices and what we have to do to the direction just.
Then stand with us. The west yet glimmers with some streaks of day. Now spurs the lighted traveller apace to gain the timely inn, and near approach is the subject of our watch.
Hark! I hear horses.
Give us a light there, ho!
To see, is the rest that are within the note of expectation readier in the court?
His horses go about.
Almost a mile, but he does usually. So all men do, from hence to the palace gate, make it their walk. 'Tis he!
Stand to it.
It will be rain tonight.
Let it come down.
Oh, treachery! Fly, good Fleance, fly! Fly, 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 thou mayest revenge! Oh, slave!
There is but one down. The sun is fled.
We have lost best half of our affair.
Well, let's away and say how much is done.
You know your own degrees. Sit down. At first and last, a hearty welcome.
Thanks, Your Majesty.
Your Majesty.
Ourself will mingle with society and play the humble host. Our hostess keeps her state, but in best time we will require her welcome.
Pronounce it for me, sir, to all our friends, for my heart speaks they are welcome.
See? They encounter thee with their heart's thanks. Both sides are even. Here I sit in the midst. Be large in mirth, and I will drink a measure of the table round. There's blood on thy face.
'Tis Banquo's then.
'Tis better thee without than he within. Is he dispatched? Thou art the best of the cutthroats. Yet he is good that did the like for Fleance. If thou didst it, thou art a nonpareil.
Most royal, sir. Fleance escaped.
Then comes my fit again. Had else been perfect, whole as a marble, founded as a rock, as broad and general as the casing air. But now I'm cabined, cribbed, confined, bound into saucy doubts and fears. But Banquo safe.
I'm, my good lord, safe in a ditch he bides, with 20 trenchant gashes on his head, the least of death to nature.
Thanks for that. There the grown serpent lies. The worm that fled hath nature that in time will bend and breed. No teeth for the present. Get thee gone. Tomorrow we'll hear ourselves again.
Do not give the cheer. My royal lord, the feast is sold, that is not often vouched, whilst 'tis a making, 'tis given with welcome. To feed were best at home, from thence the sauce to meat is ceremony, meeting were bare without it.
Sweet remembrance, sir. Now good digestion wait on appetite and health on both.
May it please your highness, sir.
Here have we now our country's honor roof. For the grace person of my Banquo present, who may I rather challenge for unkindness than pity for mischance.
His absence, sir, lays blame upon his promise. Please it your highness to grace us with your royal company.
The table's full.
Here is a place reserved, sir.
Where?
Here, my good lord. What is that moves you, your highness?
Which of you have done this?
What, my good lord?
Lord? Thou canst not say I did it. Never shake thy gory locks at me.
Gentlemen, rise. His highness is not well.
Sit, worthy friends. My lord is often thus, and hath been from his youth. Pray you keep seat. The fit is momentary. Upon a thought, he will again be well. If much you note him, you shall offend him and extend his passion. Feed, and regard him not. Are you a man?
Aye, and a bold one, that dare look on that which might appall the devil.
Proper stuff. This is the very painting of your fear. This is the air-drawn dagger which you said led you to Duncan. Oh, these flaws and starts, impostors to true fear, would welcome a woman's story at a winter's fire, authorized by her grandam. Shame itself. Why do you make such faces? When all's done, you look but on a stool.
Prithee, see there! Behold, look low! How say you, wife, what care I? If thou canst not, speak too. If charnel houses and our graves must send those that we bury back, our monuments should be the moss of kites.
What? Quite unmanly in folly?
If I stand here, I saw him.
Fie for shame.
The times have been that when the brains were out, the men would die, and there an end. But now they rise again, with 20 mortal murders on their crowns, and push us from our stool. This is more strange than such a murder is.
My worthy lord, your noble friends do lack you.
I do forget. Do not muse at me, my most worthy friends. I have a strange infirmity which is nothing to those that know me. Come, love and health to all. Then I'll sit down. Give me some wine, fill full. A drink to the general joy of the whole table, and to our dear friend Banquo, whom we miss, when he were here. To all in him we thirst, and all to all.
Our duties and the pledge.
Apart and quit my sight. Let the earth hide thee. Thy bones are marrowless. Thy blood is cold. Thou hast no speculation in those eyes which thou dost glare with.
Think of this, good peers, but as a thing of custom. 'Tis no other, only it spoils the pleasure of the time.
One man dare, I dare. Approach thou like the rugged Russian bear, the armed rhinoceros, or the harkened tiger. Take any shape but that, and my firm nerves shall never tremble, or be alive again. And dare me to the desert with thy sword. If trembling I inhabit, then protest me the baby of a girl. Hence, horrible shadow! Unreal mockery, hence! Why so? Being gone, I am a man again. Pray you sit still.
You have displaced the mirth, broke the good meeting with most admired disorder.
Can such things be? And overcome us like a summer's cloud, without our special wonder. You make me strange, even to the disposition that I owe. When now I think you can behold such sights, and keep the natural ruby of your cheeks when mine is blanched with fear.
What sights, my lord?
I pray you speak not. He grows worse and worse. Question enrages him. At once, good night. Stand not upon the order of your going, but go at once.
Good night, and better health attend his majesty.
A kind good night to all.
It will have blood, they say. Blood will have blood. What is the night?
Almost at odds with morning, which is which?
How sayst thou that Macduff denies his person at our great bidding?
Did you send to him, sir?
I hear it, by the way, but I will send. There's not a one of them, but in his house I keep her servant feed. I will tomorrow, and betimes I will, to the weird sisters. More shall they speak. For now I am bent to know by the worst means the worst. For mine all good, all causes shall give way. I am in blood stepped in so far that should I wait no more, returning were as tedious as go o'er. Strange things I have in head, that will to hand, which must be acted ere they may be scanned.
You lack the season of all natures. Sleep.
Come, will to sleep. My strange and self-abuse is the initiate fear that wants hard use. We are yet but young indeed.
My former speeches have but hit your thoughts, but can be interpreted further. Only I say things have been strangely born. The gracious Duncan was pitied at Macbeth. Marry, he was dead. And the right valiant Banquo walked too late, whom you may say, if it please you, Fleance killed, for Fleance fled. Men must not walk too late. How monstrous it was for Malcolm and for Donalbain to kill the gracious father. Damned fact! How it did grieve Macbeth. Did it not straight in pious rage the two delinquents tear that were the slaves of drink and thralls of sleep? Was that not nobly done? Aye, and wisely too, for 'twould have angered any heart alive to hear the men deny it. So that, I say, he has borne all things well. And I do think that had he Duncan choose sons under his keys, as ain't please heaven, he shall not, they should find that twere to kill a father should Fleance. But peace, for from broad words and cause he failed his presence at the tyrant's feast. I hear Macduff lives in disgrace. Sir, can you tell where he bestows himself?
The son of Duncan, from whom this tyrant holds the due of birth, lives in the English court, and is received of the most pious Edward, and is received that the malevolence of fortune nothing takes from his high respect. Thither Macduff, is gone to pray the Holy King upon his aid, to wake Northumberland and warlike Siward, that by the help of these, with him above to ratify the work, we may again give to our tables meat, sleep to our nights, free from our feasts and banquets, bloody knives, do faithful homage and receive free honors, all which we pine for now. And this report hath so exasperate the king that he prepares for some attempt at war.
Some holy angel fly to the court of England and unfold his messenger ere he come, that a swift blessing may soon return to this our suffering country under a hand accursed.
I'll send my prayers with him.
Thunder and lightning.
Thrice the brinded cat hath mewed.
Thrice and once the hedge-pig whined.
Harpier cries, 'tis time, 'tis time!
Round about the cauldron go, in the poisoned entrails throw. Toad that under cold stone, days and nights has 31, sweltered venom sleeping got, boil thou first i' the charmed pot. Double, double.
Toil and trouble.
Fire burn!
Cauldron bubble. Fill it of a funny snake, in the cauldron boil and bake. I have newt and toe of frog, wool of bat and tongue of dog, added fork and blindworm sting, lizard's leg and owlet's wing, for a charmer powerful trouble, like a hell-brush boil and bubble.
Double, double.
Toil and trouble.
Fire burn!
And cauldron
bubble.
Scale of dragon, tooth of wolf, witches, mummies, maw and gulf, of the raven, salt-seat shark, root of hemlock, dig it in the dark, finger of birth-strangled babe, ditch delivered by a drab, make the gruel thick and slab, add thereto a tiger's chaldron for the ingredients of our cauldron.
Double, double.
Toil and trouble.
Fire burn!
And cauldron bubble. With a baboon's blood, then the charm is firm and good. By the pricking of my thumb, something wicked this way comes. Open locks, whoever knocks.
How now, you secret black and midnight hags? What is't you do?
A deed without a name.
I conjure you by that which you profess. However you come to know it, answer me. Though you untie the wind and let them fight against the churches, though yeasty waves confound and swallow navigation up, though castles topple on their warders' heads, though palaces and pyramids do slope their heads to their foundation, though the treasure of nature's germin tumble altogether, even till destruction sicken, answer me to what I ask you.
Speak.
Demand.
We'll answer.
Say, if thou'dst rather hear it from our mouths, or from our masters.
Call them, let me see them.
Pour in sow's blood that hath eaten her 9 furrow, grace that sweetened from the murderer's gibbet throw into the flame. Come, high or low, thyself an office deftly show.
Tell me thou unknown power.
He knows thy thought. Hear his speech, but say thou not.
Macbeth, Macbeth, Macbeth. Beware Macduff, beware the Thane of Fife. Dismiss me. Enough!
Whatever thou art, for thy good caution, thanks. Thou hast harped my fee aright. But one word more.
You will not be commanded. Here's another more potent than the first.
Macbeth! Macbeth! Macbeth!
Had I 3 ears, I'd hear thee.
Be bloody, bold, and resolute. Laugh to scorn the power of man, for none of woman born shall harm Macbeth.
Then live, Macduff. What need I fear of thee? But yet I'll make assurance double sure, and take upon the fate thou shalt not live, that I may tell pale-hearted fear it lies, and sleep in spite of thunder. What is this that rises like the issue of a king, and wears upon his baby brow the round and top of sovereignty?
Listen, but speak not to it.
Be line-mettled, proud, and take no care who chafes, who frets, or where conspirers are. Macbeth shall never vanquished be until great Burnham wood to high Dunsinane hill shall come against him.
That will never be. Who can impress the forest, bit the tree, unfix its earthbound root? Sweet Bowman's good. Rebellion's head, rise never to the wood of Burnham rise. In our high place Macbeth shall leave the lease of nature, pay his breath to time and mortal custom. Yet, my heart throbs to know one thing. If your art can tell so much, shall Banquo's issue ever reign in this kingdom?
Seek no more.
I will be satisfied. Deny me this, and an eternal curse fall on you. Let me know.
Joe.
Joe.
Show his eyes and
Breathe
his
his
heart.
heart.
Come like shadows.
Fill
So
the
depart.
Thou art too like the spirit of Banquo. Down! Thy crown does see in mine eyeballs, and thy hair, that other gold-bound brow is like the first. A third is like the former. Filthy hags, why do you show me this? A fourth, start the eyes. What? Will the line stretch out to the crack of doom? Another yet, a seventh, I'll see no more. And yet the eighth appears, who bears a glass which shows me many more. Horrible sight. Now I see 'tis true. For the blood-bolter Banquo smiles upon me and points at them for his. What is this so?
Aye, sir, all this is so, but why stands Macbeth thus amazedly? Come, sisters, cheer we up his sprites, and show the best of our delights. I'll charm the air to go the sound, while you perform your antic round, that this great king may kindly say, our duties did his welcome pay.
Time. Thou anticipatest my dread exploits. The flighty purpose never a sword took, unless the deed go with it. From this moment, the very first things of my heart should be the first things of my hand. And even now, to crown my thoughts with acts, be it thought and done, the castle of Macduff I will surprise, seize upon Fife, give the edge of the sword, his wife, his babes, and all unfortunate souls that trace him in his line. No boasting like a fool, this deed I'll do before this purpose cool.
What had he done to make him fly the land?
You must have patience, madam.
He had none. His flight was madness. When our actions do not, our fears do make us traitors.
You know not whether it was his wisdom or his fear.
Wisdom. To leave his wife, to leave his babes, his mansion and his title in a place from whence himself does fly. He loves us not. He wants the natural touch. The poor wren, the most diminutive of birds, will fight her young ones in her nest against the owl. All is the fear, and nothing is the love. As little is the wisdom, where the flight so runs against all reason.
My dearest coz, I pray you, school yourself. But for your husband, he is noble, wise, judicious, and best knows the fits of the season. I dare not speak much further, but cruel are the times when we are traitors and do not know ourselves, when we hold rumor from what we fear, yet know not what we fear, but float upon a wild and violent sea each way and move. I take my leave of you. Shall not be long, but I'll be here again. Things at the worst will cease, or else climb upward to what they were before. My pretty cousin, blessing upon you.
All that he is, and yet he's fatherless.
I am so much a fool should I stay longer. It would be my disgrace and your discomfort. I take my leave at once.
Sarah, your father's dead. And what will you do now? How will you live? Yes, he is dead. How wilt thou do for a father?
Bless you, fair dame. I am not to you known. I doubt some danger does approach you nearly. Be not found here, hence, with your little ones. To fright you thus, methinks I am too savage. Heaven preserve you. I dare abide you no longer.
Whither shall I fly? I have done no harm. But I remember now I am in this earthly world, where to do harm is often laudable. To do good sometime accounted dangerous folly. Why then, alas, do I put up a womanly defense to say I have done no harm? What are these faces?
Where is your husband?
I hope in no place so unsanctified where such as thou mayst find him.
He's a traitor.
Thou liest, thou shag-haired villain! Murder! Murder!
Let us seek out some desolate shade, and there weep our sad bosoms empty.
Let us rather hold fast the mortal sword, and like good men, bestride our downfall and burst them. Each new morn, new widows howl, new orphans cry, new sorrows strike heaven on the face, that it resounds as if it felt with Scotland and yelled out like syllable of dolor.
What you have spoke, it may be so perchance. This tyrant whose sole name blisters our tongues was once thought honest. You have loved him well. He hath not touched you yet. I am young, but something you may deserve of him through me, and wisdom to offer up a weak, poor, innocent lamb to appease an angry God.
I am not treacherous.
But Macbeth is. A good and virtuous nature may recoil in an imperial charge. But I shall crave your pardon. That which you are, my thoughts cannot transpose. Angels are bright still, though the brightest fell. Though all things foul would wear the brows of grace, yet grace must still look so.
I have lost my hopes.
Why in that rawness left your wife and child, those precious motives, those strong knots of love without leave-taking, I pray you?
Bleed, bleed, poor country. I would not be the villain that thou thinkest for the whole space that's in the tyrant's grasp, and the riches to boot.
Be not offended. I speak not as in absolute fear of you. I think our country sinks beneath the yoke. It weeps, it bleeds, and each new day a gash is added to her wounds. I think withal there would be hands uplifted in my right. And here from gracious England have I offer of goodly thousands. But for all this, when I shall tread upon the tyrant's head, or wear it on my sword, yet my poor country shall have more vices than it had before, more suffer and more sundry ways than ever by him that shall succeed.
What should he be?
It is myself, I mean, in whom I know all the particulars of vices so grafted that when they shall be opened, black Macbeth will seem as pure as snow, and the poor state esteem him as a lamb being compared with my confineless harms.
Not in the legions of horrid hell can come a devil more damned than evils to top Macbeth.
I grant him bloody, luxurious, avarice, false, deceitful, sudden, malicious, smacking of every sin that has a name, but there's no bottom, none, in my voluptuousness. Your wives, your daughters, your matrons, and your maids could not fill up the cisterns of my lust and my desire. All continent impediment, oh, would o'erbear, that did oppose my will, better Macbeth than such in one to reign.
Boundless intemperance in nature is a tyranny. It hath been the untimely emptying of the happy throne and fall of many kings. But fear not yet to take upon you what is yours. We have willing dames enough. There cannot be that vulture in you to devour so many as will to greatness dedicate themselves. finding it so inclined.
With this there grows in my most ill-composed affection such a stanch avarice that, were I king, I should cut off the nobles for their lands, desire his jewels and this other's house, and my more having would be as a sauce to make me hunger more, that I should forge quarrels unjust against the good and evil loyal, destroying them for wealth.
This avarice sticks deeper, grows with more pernicious root than summer-seeming lust, and it hath been the sword of our slain kings. Yet do not fear. Scotland hath poisons to fill up your will.
The king becoming graces as justice, verity, temperance, stableness, bounty, perseverance, mercy, lowliness, devotions, patience, courage, fortitude. I have no relish of them. Nay, had I power, I should uproar the universal peace, confound all unity on earth.
Oh, Scotland, Scotland!
If such a one be fit to govern, speak. I am as I have spoken.
Fit to govern? No, not to live. O nation miserable, with an untitled tyrant bloody scepter, when shalt thou see thy wholesome days again, since that the truest issue of thy throne by his own interdiction stands accursed? These evils thou repeatest upon thyself have banished me from Scotland. Oh, my breast, thy hope ends here.
Macduff, this noble passion hath from my soul wiped the black scruples, reconciled my thoughts to thy good truth and honor. Devilish Macbeth, by many of these trains hath sought to win me into his power, and modest wisdom plucks me from over-credulous haste. But God above, deal between thee and me, for even now I put myself to thy direction, and unspeak mine own detraction. Here observe the taints and blames I laid upon myself. My first false speaking was this upon myself. What I am truly is thine and my poor country's to command. Withered indeed, before thy here approach, O Siward, with 10,000 warlike men, already at point was setting forth now, we'll together. Why are you silent?
Such welcome and unwelcome things at once, 'tis hard to reconcile. See, who comes here?
Good God, be times removed the means that makes us strangers.
Sir, amen.
Stand Scotland where it did.
Last poor country, almost afraid to know itself. It cannot be called our mother, but our grave, where nothing but who knows nothing is once seen to smile.
Relation, too nice and yet too true.
What's the newest grief?
How does my wife?
Why, well.
And all my children?
All too.
The tyrant is not battered at their peace?
No, they were well at peace when I did leave them. When I came hither to transport the tidings, which I have heavily borne, there ran a rumor of many worthy fellows that were out. Now is the time of help. Your eye in Scotland would create soldiers, make our women fight to doff their dire distresses.
Be it their comfort. We are coming thither. Gracious England hath lent us good Siward and 10,000 men, an older and a better soldier none that Christendom gives out.
Well, I could answer this comfort with the like, but I have words that would be howled out in the desert air where hearing should not latch them.
What concern they? The general cause? Or is it a fee grief due to some single breast?
A mind that's honest, but in it shares some woe. Though the main part pertains to you alone.
If it be mine, keep it not from me. Quickly, let me have it.
And not your ears despise my tongue forever, which shall possess them with the heaviest sound that ever yet they heard.
I guess at it.
The castle is surprised. Your wife and babes slavishly slaughtered, to relate the manner were on the quarry of these murdered deer to add the death of you.
Merciful heaven.
My children too?
Wife, children, servants, all that could be found.
And I must be from thence? My wife killed too?
Dead.
Be comforted. Let's make us medicines of our great revenge to cure this deadly grief.
All my pretty ones? Did you say all? Oh, hell kite, all? What? All my pretty chickens and their dam at one fell swoop?
Dispute it like a man.
I shall do so, but I must also feel it as a man.
Be this the whetstone of your sword. Let grief convert to anger. Blunt not the heart, enrage it.
Oh, I could play the woman with mine eyes and braggart with my tongue. But gentle heavens, cut short all intermission. Front to front, bring thou this fiend of Scotland and myself within my sword's length second. If he scape, Heaven forgive him too.
This tune goes manly. Come, go we to the king. Our power is ready. Our lack is nothing but our leave. Macbeth is ripe for shaking.
When was it she last walked?
Since His Majesty went into the field, I have seen her rise from bed, throw her nightgown upon her, unlock her closet, take forth paper, fold it, write upon it, read it, afterwards seal it, and again return to bed. Yet all this while in the most fast asleep.
Great perturbation in nature, to receive at once the benefit of sleep and do the effects of watching. What at any time have you heard her say?
Here she comes. This is her very guise. And upon my life, fast asleep. Observe her. Stand close.
See, her eyes are open.
Aye, but their sense is shut.
What is it she does now? Look how she rubs her hands.
It is an accustomed action with her. To seem thus washing her hands, I have known her to continue in this a quarter of an hour.
Yet here's a spot.
Hark, she speaks.
Out, damn spots. Out, I say. 1, 2. Why then, 'tis time to do't. Hell is murky. Fie, my lord, fie, a soldier and afeard. What need we fear, who knows it, when none can call our power to account? Yet who would have thought the old man to have had so much blood in him? The Thane of Fife had a wife. Where is she now? What? Will these hands ne'er be clean? No more on it, my lord, no more on that. You mar all with this starting. Here's the smell of the blood still. All the perfumes of Arabia will not sweeten this little hand. Oh! Wash your hands. Put on your nightgown. Look not so pale. I tell you yet again, Banquo's buried. He cannot come out on his grave. To bed, to bed. There's a knocking at the gate. Come. Give me your hand. What's done cannot be undone. To bed, to bed, to bed.
Foul whisperings are abroad. Unnatural deeds do breed unnatural troubles. Infected minds to their deaf pillows will discharge their secrets. More needs she the divine than the physician. Remove from her the means of annoyance, and still keep eyes upon her. So good night.
Night, good doctor.
The English power is near, led on by Malcolm, his uncle Siward, and the good Macduff. Revenges burn in them, for their dear causes would to the bleeding and the grim alarm excite the mortified man.
Near Burnham Wood shall we well meet them. That way are they coming.
Who knows if Donalbain be with his brother?
For certain, sir, he is not. I have a file of all the gentry. There is Siward's son, and many unruffed youths that even now protest their first of manhood.
What does the tyrant?
Great Duncanane, he strongly fortifies. Some say he's mad. Others that lesser hate him do call it valiant fury. But for certain, he cannot buckle his distempered cause within the belt of rule.
Now does he feel his secret murder sticking on his hands. Now minutely revolts upbraid his faith breach. Those he command only move in his command, nothing in love. Now does he feel his title hang loose about him like a giant's robe upon a dwarfish thief.
Who then shall blame his pestered senses to recoil and start, when all that is within him does condemn itself for being there? Well, March we on, to give obedience where 'tis truly owed. Meet we the medicine of the sickly weal, and with him pour we in our country's purge, each drop of us.
Or so much as it needs to do the sovereign flower and drown the weeds. Make we our march towards Burnham.
Drums! Drums!
Bring me no more reports. Let them fly all. To Burnham were removed to Dunsinane, I cannot taint with fear. What's the boy Malcolm? Was he not born of woman? The spirits that know all mortal consequences have pronounced me thus. Fear not, Macbeth. No man that's born of woman shall ever have power upon thee. Then fly, false things, and mingle with the English epicures. The mind I sway by and the heart I bear shall never sag with doubt nor shake with fear.
There is 10,000 soldiers, sir, the English force, to please you.
Take thy face hence. Seyton! I am sick at heart when I behold. Seyton, I say! This push will cheer me ever, will deceive me now. I have lived long enough. My way of life is falling into the sear, the yellow leaf. And that which should accompany old age as honor, love, obedience, trooper friends, I must not look to have, but in their stead, curses, not loud but deep, mouth honor, breath, which the poor heart will faint deny and dare not. Seyton!
What is your gracious pleasure?
One news more.
All is confirmed, my lord, which was reported.
I'll fight till from my bones my flesh be hacked. Give me my armor.
Is not needed yet.
I'll put it on. Send out more horses. Scour the country round. Hang those that talk of fear. Give me mine armor. How does your patient, doctor?
Not so sick, my lord. She is troubled with thick-coming fancies that keep her from her rest.
Cure her of that. Canst thou not minister to a mind disease? Pluck from the memory a rooted sorrow. Raise out the written troubles of the brain, and with some sweet oblivious antidote, cleanse that stuffed bosom of that perilous stuff which weighs upon the heart.
Therein the patient must minister to himself.
Throw physic to the dogs, I'll none of it. Doctor, the thanes fly from me. If thou couldst, doctor, cast the water of my land, find her disease, and purge it to a sound and pristine health, I would applaud thee to the very echo that should applaud again. What rhubarb, chyme, or what purgative drug would scour the English hence? Hear'st thou of them?
Aye, my good lord. Your royal preparation makes us hear something.
I will not be afraid of death and bane, till Burnham Forest come to Dunsinane.
Drums!
Cousins, I hope the days are near at hand that Chambers will be safe.
We doubt it nothing.
What wood is this before us?
The wood of Burnham.
Let every soldier hew him down a bow and bear it before him. There shall we shadow the numbers of our hosts and make discovery in report of us.
It shall be done.
Should be done.
We learn no other but the confident tyrant keeps still in Dunsinane, and will endure our setting down before it.
'Tis his main hope, for where there is advantage to be given, both more and less have given him the revolt, and none serve with him but constrained things whose heart are absent too.
Let our just censures attend the true event, and put we on industrious soldiership.
The time approaches. That will with due decision make us know what we shall say we have and what we owe. Thoughts speculative, their unsure hopes relate, but certain issues strokes must arbitrate, towards which advance the war!
Drums!
Hang out our banners on the outward walls. The cry is still they come. Our castle's strength will laugh a cease to scorn. Here let them lie till famine and the ague eat them up. Were they not forced with those that should be ours, we might have met them therefore, beard to beard, and bit them backward home. What is that noise?
It is the cry of women, my good lord.
I've almost forgot the taste of fears. The time has been, my senses will have cooled to hear a night shriek, and my fan of hair without a dismal treatise rouse and stir as life were end. I have supped full with horrors, direness, familiar to my slaughterous thoughts cannot once start me. Wherefore was that cry?
The queen, my lord, is dead.
She should have died hereafter. There would have been a time for such a word. Tomorrow, and tomorrow, and tomorrow creeps in this petty pace from day to day, to the last syllable of recorded time. And all our yesterdays have lighted fools the way to dusty death. Out, out, brief candle. Life's but a walking shadow. A poor player that struts and frets his hour upon the stage. And then is heard no more. It is a tale told by an idiot, full of sound and fury, signifying nothing. Thou comest to use thy tongue, thy story quickly.
Gracious, my lord, I should report that which I say I saw, but know not how to do it.
Well, say, sir.
As I did stand my watch upon the hill, I looked toward Burnham, and anon, methought the wood began to move.
Liar and slave.
Let me endure your wrath, if it be not so. Within this 3 mile you may see it coming. I say a moving grove.
If thou speakst false, upon the next tree shalt thou hang alive, till famine cling thee. If thy speech be sooth, I care not if thou dost for me as much. I pull in resolution, and begin to doubt the equivocation of the fiend that lies like truth. Fear not till Burnham wood do come to Dunsinane, and now a wood comes towards Dunsinane. I'm arming out. If this which she avouches does appear, there's no flying hence nor tarrying here. I begin to be a worry of the sun, and wish the estate of the world were now undone. Ring the alarm bell, blow, ring, come rack. At least we'll die with harness on our back.
Alarum, drums.
Now near enough. Your leafy screens throw down and show like those you are. You, worthy uncle, shall with my cousin, your right noble son, lead our first battle. Worthy Macduff and we shall take upon what else remains to do, according to our order.
Fare you well. Do we but find the tyrant's power tonight, let us be beaten if we cannot fight.
Make all our trumpets speak. Give them all breath. Those clamorous harbingers of blood and death.
Alarums, alarum.
They have tied me to a stake. I cannot fly, but bear like I must fight the course. Was he that was not born of woman such a one am I to fear, or none?
What is thy name?
Thou be afraid to hear it.
No, thou callest thyself a hotter name than any is in hell.
My name's Macbeth.
The devil himself could not pronounce a title more hateful to mine ear.
No, no more fearful.
Thou liest, abhorred tyrant. With my sword I'll prove the lie thou speakest.
Thou was born a woman, but swords I smile at, weapons laugh to scorn, brandished by a man that's of a woman born.
That way the noise is. Tyrant, show thy face. If thou beest slain and with no stroke of mine, my wife and children's ghosts will haunt me still. I cannot strike at wretched kerns, whose arms are hired to bear their staves. Either thou, Macbeth, or else my sword with an unbattered edge I sheath again unneeded. There thou shouldst be. By this great clatter, one of greatest note seems brooded. Let me find him fortune, and more I beg not.
Alarums.
This way, my lord. The castle's gently rendered. The tyrant's people on both sides do fight. The noble thanes do bravely in the war. The day almost itself professes yours, and little is to do.
We have met with foes that strike besides us.
Enter, sir, the castle.
Alarums.
Why should I play the Roman fool and die on my own sword? While I see lives, the gashes do better upon them.
Turn, hellhound, turn.
Of all men else I have avoided thee, but get thee back. My soul is too much charged with blood of thine already.
I have no words. My voice is in my sword. Thou bloodier villain than terms can give thee out?
Ah! Thou losest labor. As easy mayst thou the entrenched air with thy keen sword impress, as make me bleed. Let fall thy blade on vulnerable crest. I bear a charmed life, which must not yield to one of woman born.
Despair thy charm, and let the angel whom thou still hast served tell thee Macduff was from his mother's womb untimely ripped.
Accursed be that tongue that tells me so, for it has cowed my better part of men. And be these juggling fiends no more believe that palter with us in a double sense, that keep the word of promise to our ears and break it to our hope. I'll not fight with thee.
Then yield thee, coward, and live to be the show and gaze of the time. We'll have thee, as our rarer monsters are, painted on a pole and underwrit, "Here may you see the tyrant."
I will not yield to kiss the ground before young Malcolm's feet, and to be baited with the rabble's curse. Though Burnham would become to dounce an aid, and thou opposed being of no woman born, yet I will try the last. Before my body I throw my warlike shield. Lay on, Macduff, and damn be him that first cries, "Hold, enough!" Ah!
Alarums. Alarum.
Macduff is missing. And your noble son?
Your son, my lord, has paid a soldier's debt. He only lived but till he was a man, the which no sooner had his prowess confirmed in the unshrinking station where he fought, but like a man he died.
Then he is dead?
Aye. Your cause of sorrow must not be measured by his worth, for then it hath no end.
Why then God's soldier be he. Had I as many sons as I have hairs, I would not wish them to a fairer death. And so, his knell is knolled.
He's worth more sorrow, and that I'll spend for him.
He's worth no more. They say he parted well and paid his score, and so, God be with him. Here comes newer comfort.
Hail, King! For so thou art. Behold, where stands the usurper's cursed head. The time is free. I see thee compassed with thy kingdom's pearl, that speak my salutation in their minds, whose voices I desire aloud with mine. Hail, King of Scotland!
Hail!
King of
Scotland!
Trumpet flourish.
We shall not spend a large expense of time before we reckon with your several loves, and make us even with you, my thanes and kinsmen, henceforth be earls, the first that ever Scotland in such an honored named. What's more to do, which would be planted newly with the time, as calling home our exiled friends abroad, that fled the snares of watchful tyranny, producing forth the cruel ministers of this dead butcher and his fiend-like queen, who, as 'tis thought, by self and violent hands took off her life. This, and what needful else, that calls upon us by the grace of grace, we will perform in measured time and place. So thanks to all at once and to each one, whom we invite to see us crowned at Scone.
Trumpet flourish.